busting. Many brothers I be sparking and rushing, man, like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just a brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifesting. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations, the anime. And I know, normally when we get to this part of the month, I usually talk about stuff that takes place in the manga, but I want to switch things up because of everything that's going on in the anime right now with Baryon Mode Naruto versus Isshiki, and people that read the manga know that this is a monumental fight in terms of impact and everything that's getting ready to happen. So I'm not going to go into manga spoilers, so don't worry about that, but I do want to kind of give you guys fresh thoughts. You know, the episode review is more so me watching the episode and then immediately giving my thoughts right after the fact. It's more of a reaction instead of a review, though I do feel like I go pretty in depth in the reviews. But I say that to say, just reading all the feedback that people left, not only on the episode review, but also like on the YouTube clip of the fight, and you know, going on Crunchyroll and going on Twitter and just checking all the different feedbacks that people have had on the fight. I've seen people say that this is hands down the best animated fight in the entirety of the Boruto franchise, and I don't know if I can go that far just yet. I need to see how this fight ages. I need to see how I feel about the fight 3-4 months down the line from now, because I am the first one to say I am a huge victim of getting caught up in the moment. However, for a video like this, I do feel like I can stay pretty objective on this. So I know you have the people online that, you know, it's a easy way to get likes if you take a dump on certain series, like Fairy Tail went through this, Black Clover went through it, Boruto's going through it right now. And I get it. You know, you have a lot of people saying, well, you know, Boruto's only had 1, maybe 2 good fights out of 200 episodes. Good sir, I don't get how you can waste your time with that. And you know, my thing on it is, if you're not informed, shut the hell up. You know, I'm just gonna be blunt. This whole thing of I'm gonna bash a series or whatever because it's gonna get me likes and attention, I think that's just mad corny. That's just my opinion on it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Dr. Stone. I can see why a lot of people like it, but it's not my cup of tea. I read 50 chapters of it and I moved on. You don't hear me talk about it. When people ask me, am I a fan of Dr. Stone, I give my reasons why I don't really rock with it like that, and then I keep it moving. I did the same thing with Black Clover. I gave Black Clover 50 chapters when it first came out, and I said, well, maybe if it gets animated, I might become a fan, because this might be something that translates better in animated format than it does manga. And when 2020 happened and everybody was on COVID lockdown, I picked the series back up 4 years after I dropped it, and I became a fan of it. And by extension, I now read the manga. But during that 4 years, you didn't hear me say shit about Black Clover. And when people ask me, hey, how come you don't talk about it? I just said, hey, I'm not a fan of it. So I've set my whole piece, because people have been hitting me up for the last 2 or 3 months. Can you talk about these Boruto haters? Why won't they say reason? You've got my official stance on it now. Now, getting back to the video, you know, when we start looking at all the fights that we've had in the Boruto franchise, you got episode 189, that's Kawaki versus Goro. You got episode 65, Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki. And then, in my opinion, right now, you have episode 218, which is Baryon Mode Naruto versus Isshiki. And then after that, you know, in no particular order, you got episode 135, the Fused Urashiki battle. You got episode 204, the Naruto and Sasuke versus Jigen battle. You got episode 175, the Team 7 versus Deepa rematch battle. We've had quite a few good fights in the franchise. However, in today's video, I want to explain to you why I believe that this fight is better than it's getting credit for. So when you look at what makes a really good fight in terms of shonen, one of the things you have to look at is the emotional stakes that you have and the emotional ties that you have as a viewer. The other thing that you have to look at is whether or not the stakes are high enough in the fight. You have to look at also whether or not there's any shock value moments to take place in the fight that is really going to hold the attention of the reader, or in this case, the viewer. And then You have to look at whether or not there's a half decent strategy is taking place in it. You have to look at whether or not there's consistency and whether or not there's fan service in the fight. Just by fan service, I don't mean like boobs flashing all over the place. I mean, are we in a situation where like you just have those oh my god moments, like those moments where you just pause and you go back and you watch the scene all over again? Are those the moments where you see animated GIFs all over social media? That's what you really want to see in terms of eye candy. And I want to say, just from a aesthetic aspect, Baryon Mode Naruto versus Isshiki was very well animated. Like, it was very well animated. The movements were very fluid. I talked about it in the review. I was very impressed with the small stuff, like with how Naruto's hair would just kind of sway in the same direction as when he's going through his follow-through motions. The same thing when it comes to the aesthetics in terms of the art. The art was absolutely beautiful. I love the way that in the animated sequences where when you see Naruto's Baryon mode going, how you just see the chakra just kind of fluttering off of him. Very, very beautiful in terms of that. So in terms of eye candy, those things are there. However, I think that the strategy aspect and the consistency aspect of this fight are elements that don't get enough credit. So in particular, when it comes to consistency, I'm not talking about the fact that, you know, it's a knockdown, drag 'em out fight that holds your attention the entire way through. That's not what I'm referring to when I say consistency. What I'm specifically referring to is, are we seeing the characters utilize move sets that they used prior? And in particular, I think it's important for this fight to focus on Isshiki, because Isshiki was done in a very beautiful way. While we didn't see Isshiki going through shrinking, which that kind of fits a pattern for the character, which I'm going to do a whole video breaking down Isshiki's psychology during this fight. However, the other thing you kind of have to look at is Isshiki's dojutsu allows you to not just shrink things and send them to another dimension, but when they're sent to another dimension, they're sent in an area where time itself stops. And so the whole time that Kashin Koji was using those eternal flames on him, Isshiki was shrinking the flames and storing them in his dimension. And we see a callback to Isshiki being able to summon things in that dimension, because when he fires that chakra blast at Naruto, he's actually firing off those flames, and you actually see Naruto flying through the flames at one point. So in terms of consistency, the small details like that are things I really enjoy. Another good thing in terms of consistency that we saw here is the voice acting, how Isshiki was getting more and more agitated as the fight was going on, and the small touches that the voice actor did, like when he had Isshiki snarling and grunting, the little small touches like that, and how the cadence was just changing continually over the episode, is very similar to what he did when you had episode 204 with Naruto and Sasuke versus Jigen, where you had Jigen laughing and chuckling as the fight is going on, but it's so soft that you miss it when you first watch it. That's what I mean when I say consistency. Then when you get to the strategy aspect of it, I thought that just having Naruto in that situation where Baryon mode is able to shave off his life force, it's a situation where it does not matter if Naruto's stronger than Isshiki, because power in the Naruto world does not always mean that you win. A great example of this would be how Kaguya was literally powered up into her strongest state than she had ever been at any point during our battle with Naruto and Sasuke. And in that time, Kakashi, with this dual Mangekyo Sharingan, with that 6-pass chakra boost that he got from Obito's chakra, Kakashi during that time was able to do lethal damage to Kaguya for a brief second. Kakashi, with that double Mangekyo Sharingan, possesses the most hacks ability that you've ever seen in the entire franchise. In that moment right there, it did not matter that Kaguya was more powerful than Kakashi. Kakashi was a matchup nightmare for her. And it's kind of the same thing with Baryon mode Naruto versus Isshiki, to where Naruto, he had the advantage of being stronger than Isshiki, but all Naruto had to do was just focus on landing the hits. He focused on shaving off his life force. Naruto approached that battle like a boxer. He wasn't going for the big knockout punch. That's the flashier thing. That's something that Isshiki would have done. Naruto was that methodical fighter who focused on kidney shots and body shots to slowly wear down his opponent over time. That calculated and measured level of thinking is actually growth on the side of Naruto. We're seeing a different side of Naruto now. Now, when you look at the stakes and everything, the stakes are pretty damn high. I mean, I've seen people say Boruto fights don't have stakes. If you're still saying that in 2021, what that tells me is that you're stuck in 2017. An alien that is trying to harvest the entire damn planet, that's pretty high stakes right there. An alien that wants to feed Boruto to a Ten Tails, the main character being fed to a Ten Tails, that's pretty high stakes. So I don't want to hear anything on that. When it comes to shock value, there were tons of moments in this fight to where you kind of rewind it and you went and you looked at it and you said, holy shit, this is good. A great example of this would actually be the ending when Naruto gets stomped out of Baryon Mode. That was a moment for me when I first read it in the manga. It absolutely made me pop. And then when you see it in the anime, you see Naruto with his eyes whited out and you see how it seems like nothing's going to stop Isshiki from capturing Kawaki. That's another good aspect of shock value right there. Now, when it comes to the emotional connection, this is where this fight really benefits from everything that happened in the Naruto manga. Or if you're an anime fan, which I know a lot of you guys are, basically had Naruto be the main character for 720 episodes. And he's been part of this Boruto anime and had a key role in a lot of the Boruto stories. So you've watched Naruto for a very long time. So you already have that emotional connection that is built into it. And what I like about this is that Naruto using a form that you've been told will kill Naruto as a result of using it. That's high stakes because Naruto is pulling on your heartstrings when Naruto says, I've been preparing for this moment ever since I said I was going to be Hokage. And when he's fighting against Isshiki, you're seeing callbacks to part 1 of Naruto where he's doing the same combination he did against Sasuke when they're fighting at the Valley of the End. You're seeing that. You're seeing other callbacks to some of Naruto's other fighting styles as Naruto got more powerful throughout the series. And I feel like that was a progression that was kind of building towards the conclusion of the fight to where Naruto falls just short of being able to take out Isshiki Otsutsuki. And I think that that right there is something that really pulls on your heartstrings as a viewer, or if you're like me and you're a manga reader, the reason why it pulls on your strings right there is you've watched Naruto go so far and yet come so close to victory. And it's the fact that Naruto did not come out on top on this, that emotionally you're more invested now because you're going into this next episode saying, what did Naruto sacrifice everything for? Like, that's what I love right there. That's one of the reasons why I really feel like this fight works better. Like, I know people are going to be, 100% like on the meathead train and just focus on the taijutsu and the big explosions. And don't get me wrong, I love that shit myself. But that's not the only thing that makes a good fight. So that's just my thoughts on this. So what I want to know from you guys, I want to know where you personally rank Baryon Mode Naruto versus Isshiki in terms of Boruto fights, and then I want to know where it ranks in terms of just fights in the Naruto franchise. Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.